good morning. So today we're going to be doing some work on back. Now this could be for somebody who's got back issues and they're in a bit of pain, or you could use it as a back program to keep yourself out of pain. So if you've got any difficulties with the back, and as you know, you'll probably feel the last thing you want to do is any major exercise. But just take it bit by bit and do little bits, and if you're feeling that it's too painful, then obviously you need to rest and ice it and seek medical advice. So we're going to do a little bit of technique with the Alexandra program as well, and that's at the moment Margaret has got her head built up, which they're very much about making sure the neck and the head stays in alignment. And this is a very important point because when your neck is at an uncomfortable position, everything down the chain is going to be affected. So it's always important to make sure where your head is. If you can think about where your ears and your eyes are lined up. So you're looking generally, virtually at the side of the wall ceiling into there. And then you just, again, always start with the breathing. So you've got somewhere to come back to. So starting with some breath, we're going to go through some of these movements and get Margaret out of any back issues that she might be experiencing. So sometimes it's just from sleeping poorly. And the very first thing is she's done a few moments of breathing. So now we'll get her to draw a knee in and extend one leg away from her. So when you draw this knee in, again, just make sure you try to stay square with the hips. So try to keep the two pelvises sides level. If you divide your navel area into a clock face and you have the forward area either 6 or 12, so pubic bone, say 12, navel, tummy button area 6, and then the two respective hips 3 and 9. So if you have that clock face feeling, then you want to make sure that you're not jamming one beyond, brings one side up. So just looking at Margaret, I'd suggest that she just ease back a little bit here, keep the hand in, aim again, not for the breastbone, but more for the armpit shoulder, so that you're bringing the hip into the side rather than into the middle. And that helps again at the back of the clock face. So we're going to change that over. So we're stretching, and as she's doing that, she's making sure that the other leg does not follow. So this is also a psoas stretch. So lower back release, and that, if you've got back pain, that might just be all you want to do. Lay on the floor, see how you feel, and then draw the knees in. Great, and then from there we're going to move on. We're going to go into our spinal twist. So we're going to put the feet on the floor, and we're just going to tick-tock the knees. One side, tick-tock them this way. Good. Again, checking in with what you've got going on with the back and the mobility through your hips. Great. So if you want to advance that, the next level would be to come back to the middle, bring the feet off the floor, and bring your knees directly over your hips. Yep, just keep them like that. And now drop them down one side and over to the other. So she's going to tick-tock a few times. She's going to check that she keeps her shoulders down, her neck in neutral. Or if she wants to advance it, she could turn her head in the opposite direction from how her knees are going. Lovely. And now when you go back to the other side to start again, we're going to leave it down there and take a few breaths. So going all the way over and staying. Again, don't fight it if the knees don't go to the floor. There's no competition. Just allow them to gently soften and let go. And you can feel this tremendous stretch all the way up through the ribs, through the upper back, shoulder. And again, the option of turning the head away from the knees. And then we'll go to the other side. Good. Excellent. And then back into the middle and put the feet on the floor. Take the legs a little wider apart, and here we're also going to turn them in. So we're going to let the knees drop in for a moment, feel what's going on there, and then open the knees wide, and then drop down one side. Good. Inhaling, bringing them back up, exhaling to the other side. Lovely. And back into the middle. This time bring your feet in line with the sit bones. And bring one knee in and see if you can put it on top of the other. Lovely. First movement we're going to do is let the sole of the foot, I'll go the other way, otherwise we'll be playing footsies. Let the sole of the foot drop to the ground. Beautiful. And just really trying to keep that knee from coming too close and feeling what's happening in the rest of the body. Couple of breaths there. and then come back up. Let's change that all over to the other side. Push it over. Good. And a little nudge at the top of the knee. Great. Back to the center and put both feet on the floor. Bring that right knee back up on. We're going to go to the piriformis stretch. So we're going to bring it up and over. Now, and just see how you feel with that. There is a whole routine on that we'll be bringing at a later stage on how to get into that with more stability. So what we're going to do now is go through the gaps. We want one hand through the middle and the other one outside. And there's a couple of options. She can bring her head up. Yep. She can also extend this leg if she wants to get more hamstring work, and then also pull her head up. So there's a couple of options. But this is working into the lower back, into the sacroiliac, and quite deep into a muscle called the piriformis, which those of you that suffer from sciatica would probably have heard about. And this is a really great pose for releasing sciatic pain. All right, and let's do that on the other side. So we bring one up, press the knee away, bring the leg to you, and bring the head up as an option. Bring the leg up as another option. Excellent. And from there, we're going to bring ourselves out the way you went in. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let the knees open nice and wide. Just relax. Make sure you're happy with your head. You might have wiggled off a little bit there, Margaret. You want to have a little bit more support. Bring it down a fraction. Good. All that wiggling and allowing the knees to open. So don't worry if your knees are way up high still into the air. That's fine. They'll come down where they come down to. You know, they are what they are. There's no need to force. You can just allow them to gently lessen. And I also try and think about pushing the feet together so that the legs, the more you work through the feet, then the knees and the groins will soften. We're going to do one more little technique. She's going to bring her hands up and push them into the tops of her thighs there. And much like a cat padding, as they do, you want to just press the hips away, alternating from one side to the other. Feel how that feels, opening up through the hips, and then even pushing together a couple of times, breathing out as you force away. Inhale, breathing out, and one more time. Great, excellent. And then from there she's going to roll onto her tummy, and we're going to go through some back strengthening movements. So those last ones were all about stretch and release and finding how you feel. This pose here is a Sphinx pose. It is an Alexandra technique one, and also used a lot in yoga. You'll probably see it a lot in yin yoga these days. But it's simply a matter of pressing the body in both directions, keeping the head in neutral, and anchoring yourself into the floor. So this is a really good pose just to test how you're feeling and where you're feeling things. We're going to go from there into child's pose. So we're going to bring the hands out. Sorry, not child's pose, a cobra. So go to the floor, yep, and then when you're ready, pushing yourself gently up. So again, I've stressed here, it's not about straightening the arms, because generally if you just straighten your arms for me, see what happens, her shoulders will push up. She'll look like she's wearing a coat hanger. So bend your elbows again, soften, and even go down lower, yep, about there, and extend. And so the hands can be out to the side, they can be more forward. The more you go forward and the wider they go, the easier it is. The closer they come back to you and closer into the sides, they look a little bit more, well, they are more difficult, but you're also heading into an upward dog movement, which is not what we're trying to do. Great, and then relax down, and then you can push yourself gently back up into child's pose just to release, and when we'll do a couple of breaths there just to surrender. That might be enough for you. You might want to stay there, or you can stay with us. We're going to do a couple more. To combat the back, if you want to give your back strength, you must have a good strong corset at the front. So we're going to do some abdominal work here. So we're going to get Margaret to turn around and put her feet on near the wall. I'm going to do this with you. So we're not going to be on the wall just at this moment. We're going to bring one foot up and then the other foot up, and we're going to decide whether this is hard. If this is really hard for you to hold this, then I would bring both feet down and start from the floor. So the movement is up and down, whether you're doing it from the ground or from the next level. So the second level is going to be a little bit harder. Your heel tapping to the floor or the foot sole of the foot. If you actually try and pull the toes back, you'll work more of your legs. Keep the belly nice and firm, but don't push the back completely into the floor. The back is soft, it's keeping in your neutral shapes, and from there you'll feel this in your abdominals. You're firm through that clock face, and then you can relax, give yourself a little knee hug. You might want to do some circles. The next one's a little harder. I'm going to get Margaret to wiggle closer to this wall, or as we've got here is our chair. So you're going to put your feet up on the chair, no, like I had on the wall, so bottom back. Okay. So if you're using a wall, you might want to make sure you've got socks on so you don't ruin your wall. Otherwise, here we're going to put hands behind the head. Now again, with Alexandra technique, you want to make sure that your eyes stay looking straight up, that the knees are directly over. So I might just shift you back a little bit there, so it's directly over your hips. Okay, and from there she's just going to do a little crunch. Feet stay pressing the wall or the chair. We want to try and make sure that the lower half doesn't get too involved, and you're only going to breathe out on the exhale and as a lift. Good. And you can see and feel that this is going to work your abdominals quite strongly. Not a big fan of lots of sit-ups or pull-ups, as they tend to be more. They tend to turn into more pulling up with the neck. You always want to try and imagine you've got that distance, like a fist or orange distance under the neck. So that's why it's easier to stay with looking at the ceiling. The moment you lose contact with the ceiling and you're looking now at the front wall or something in front of you, you've gone too far with the neck or gone too far up with the whole body. And again, aim for 10 or 15 or 20. And if you want to make it even a little harder, hold it up there for the next one. Up and hold and down. Good. One more of those. Excellent. And a knee hug to finish with that. And we want to stretch everything out. So we're going to go back to our Sphinx pose to stretch out and give that nice long stretch to the stomach. And here, again, you're lengthening the body in two directions, so make sure that's happening. And also, if you wanted to make it harder, this would be where you'd start to come up into plank, but we'll use that another day. We're just going to stretch out today. And then you might even want to come back into child's pose to completely finish. Tuning in with how your body feels, how you feel in yourself. And there's a nice routine to stretch out the back, strengthen your stomach and your back at the same time. I hope you enjoyed that. Namaste.